Next up, we've got a real cracker.
Is it Casual Friday?
What's going on here?
Oh, wait a minute. Yellow tracksuit, sword. We're doing Kill Bill myths.
The fans can't get enough of our martial arts myths. And in fact, since the ninja special, we've been inundated with requests to do the coffin punch scene from Kill Bill.
That's the scene where she's buried alive and she punches her way through the casket, climbs through 6 feet of dirt with her bare hands.
Right. No sword, right?
There's no sword.
Okay, put the sword down.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
It's a chilling scene that nightmares are made of, as our yellow-suited heroine literally gets buried alive. Trapped 6 feet under, escape seems impossible. Unless, of course, you are a trained martial arts assassin. So, undeterred by being interred, our heroine uses a series of 3-inch power punches, cracks the casket, worms through the soil, and lives to take her revenge. But is such a death-defying deed really doable?
All right, you guys, how do you want to test this one?
Well, I think the biggest issue is going to be the fact that she didn't have a lot of room to punch. She only had about 3 inches. So we have to see how much force you can generate from just a 3-inch punch.
Then I think we should get a real coffin and see how much force it takes to break through that.
All right, well, assuming we can punch through the lid, then we need to find out if you can dig through 6 feet of dirt with your bare hands.
Well, before we even get to that, how are we going to test force? Last time we tested the force of a punch, we almost broke Tori's hand.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got a brand new technique. I guarantee you no one is going to get hurt.
Last time they tested punching power, Grant's invention busted more fists than myths. So this time, he's gone high-tech.
I've got a tech scan flexible sensor, plugs into a USB evolution handle, and that goes into my computer. And the computer will be able to record the exact amount of force applied to the sensor.
Once the sensor records the punch, the computer then converts the blow to pounds, giving a total amount of force applied. So, armed with Grant's weapon of choice,
Ready for the fury?
it's time to test what power of a punch the guys can pack. Our very own Italian stallion shapes up first with a full-arm jab.
Go. Nice.
Ooh, look at that.
Okay, stand by.
And Grant's reader records the result.
Okay, so it looks like your peak there was 1,430 pounds.
Ooh.
But of course, in the movie, the heroine only had 3 inches of punch power to bust through the box. So Grant resets and Tori refocuses, this time from 3 inches.
Did it register?
It did register. 781 pounds peak.
What? Are you serious?
With Tori down for the count, the others see if they can do any better. But punching prowess is notably absent. Boom Boom Belechi, 785 pounds. Knuckles Byron, 362. And Iron Man Imahara, 612.
You know, that's not a lot of power. But you know what? We're not trained martial artists. And in the movie, she was. So why don't we find a real martial artist, see if he does any better than we did. Let's go.
All right.
With our trio unable to punch their way out of a paper bag, they head off to meet a real punching pro, mixed martial arts maestro John Fitch.
How often do you get to meet an actual professional MMA fighter, but we get a chance to actually work with him and measure how much strength he has in his punch? I mean, this is like a dream come true.
But does Fitch the Fist have what it takes to tackle this coffin punching myth? Well, here's one way to find out.
In this corner, weighing in at 170 pounds, John Fitch. In this corner, weighing in at 175 pounds, from the mean streets of Monterey, California, Tory Boom Boom Belechi. Let's get it on!
Tori's mom, in fact, any members of the Belechi family may want to avert their eyes. Yep, in less than 1 minute, Boom Boom's doomed.
That's it. Good night.
Meaning Fitchy's the fighter they're after. So now it's time to crunch the numbers.
We brought our whole measurement system, and we're going to measure his punch force. I'll take his actual fighting glove and calibrate that with our punching bag. and see exactly how hard he can punch. Ready, set, go!
With a round arm right, John Fitch fetches a healthy result.
Okay, so your peak punch force was 7,144 pounds.
Holy crap.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Well, it is 5 times harder than Boom Boom's best blow. But the real test has to be at 3 inches while lying down.
So this is our makeshift casket. You're gonna lay down on your back and punch up at the sensor.
The fist assumes the position. Cramped as though in a casket, it's this punch that's key to this myth. So what's the verdict?
So check this out. Your force on your back at coffin height, 1,482 pounds.
So a trained fighter can 3-inch punch with 1,500 pounds of force. So now the boys need to bury themselves in this myth. And animated Kari, Tory, and Grant are putting Kill Bill to the test. They're trying to find out if you can cuff your way out of a coffin. And with punch data gathered from martial arts expert John Fitch, next, the team needs a casket. And that's where Kari comes in.
I'm gonna make it as realistic as possible, so I'm gonna use all the same materials, I'm gonna make it all the same size, and then we can see for ourselves if we can punch through a real casket.
It's 3/4-inch pine made to funeral and movie specifications and comes with a see-through side for testing purposes. Then there's the gravesite. That's Tory's contribution.
So I've come up with a design to test this safely. What I'm gonna do is build a box that will hold the 6 feet of dirt. And then what I'm gonna do is raise that up off the ground 4 feet with steel legs. And then what I'm gonna do is put the casket underneath that box. Once I have the casket in, we have the dirt in place, then we can start testing whether or not it's possible to break through the casket and dig through 6 feet of dirt.
More on that later, because right now it's on to the punch itself. With John Fitch unavailable, that's down to Grant. And no prizes for guessing his design.
That's right. I'm gonna build a robot. Using the robot, we'll match it to John Fitch's punching strength, and then try and punch through the coffin lid.
And thanks to the wonder of editing, it's a case of no sooner said than done. Voila! A robotic punching machine that can give the coffin a fearful cuffin.
I call it the RoboFist. Here's how it works. First, air comes into the regulator, gets regulated to whatever pressure I want, gets stored in an air tank. The air tank goes to a high flow valve that lets air go really fast. That gets split into 2 tubes that go down to the bottom of the piston. Now, when those fire, these 2 valves allow air to come out very quickly and goes whoo, very fast. 3, 2, 1. I think it's working.
And that means RoboFist is ready for a test.
And I'm just gonna dial up the pressure until the robot can punch as hard as John Fitch.
Remember, even with a tiny 3-inch punch, John Fitch managed a whopping 1,400-pound wallop. Grant's going to have to match that exactly. Grant gets things rolling just short of 200 PSI.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
And what do you know?
Yo beauty! So, at 185 PSI, the robot is punching at 1,430 pounds, which is exactly in the range that John Fitch can punch. And it's punching at the right speed. So now, it's time to bring in a casket and see how the robot does against that.
Back at M7, Kari, Grant, and Tory have built a robot to punch with the power of martial arts expert John Fitch. Now it's time to test the Kill Bill myth. Can you really punch your way out of a pine box? Well, first, Kari finds out that in confined space, nobody can hear you scream.
How you doing in there? Can you breathe?
Real funny joke.
The team lays the RoboFist to rest,
This is how they do it in Hollywood, Kari. Ah, that's gotta hurt.
nails down the lid, and they're ready for a dirt-free preliminary test.
Now, sharp-eyed viewers may note that there's no dirt on top of our casket. But right now, we're just trying to isolate the casket and see whether, in theory, it's possible to punch your way through.
Meanwhile, Kari's worked out the correct punch-to-air ratio if you get buried alive.
After about 45 minutes, you're gonna lose air inside your casket and you're gonna pass out. Now, John Fitch says that he can punch about 20 times per minute. So we figure the parameters for our myth should be set at about half an hour or 600 punches. If you can't get out after 600 punches, well, you might not be getting out.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's
Ready.
break him out.
So RoboFist comes out swinging
Yeah!
Oh! Wow!
and almost immediately cracks start to appear.
He's alive!
Yep, the lid is split.
Punch through!
But progress is, should we say, not exactly progressing.
That crack looks like it's wider.
Kinda.
300 punches on, and Tory, for one, is losing focus.
Tails.
But after 30 minutes, the coffin puncher would be on his last legs, so to speak, with very little air left. So Kari rings the bell on the final round.
600 punches, and it still didn't punch its way out.
Yep, the casket cracked all right. But even without dirt on top, RoboFist couldn't break through.
The robot worked great. However, we were not able to punch through the casket. And that is 600 punches at full strength the whole time. I mean, a person probably would get tired if they were in there. They would be running out of oxygen. The robot didn't have any of those limitations, and it still wasn't able to break through the casket top.
But all is not lost, because for test 2, the guys are going to get down and dirty. They're going to bury the casket 6 feet under, and that might just give them the cracking they're after. Their coffin is 8 feet long, 3 feet wide, and will be buried 6 feet deep. That means it's covered with over 12,000 pounds of dirt. This extra pressure may do nothing at all, but it could create such a serious strain on the lid that it's actually easier to break through. So bring on Tory's masterpiece, a mobile graveyard with a box on top to house 6 feet of dirt. And the casket fits snug underneath.
Tory's rig right there, with a coffin 6 feet under, with a pallet of 4 by 8 dirt, will give you between 12 and 16,000 pounds approximately, all resting on a lid made of 3/4 inch pine.
And your prediction, Kari?
I think you might be able to punch your way out. I just think you're gonna die once it happens.
And on that cheery thought, Grant gets things cracking.
Here we go! 3, 2, 1.
Look at it, it's already starting to crack the lid. Every time he pushes up, dirt falls in through the crack.
Remember, in Kill Bill, not only did the bride bust out of the buried casket, but she then had to dig out of a 6-foot-deep grave. Just like last time, RoboFist immediately starts lifting the lid. But will it be able to punch a hole clean through?
That's 150 punches.
And he still hasn't broken through. I mean, you wouldn't be able to punch that many times. You would have run out of oxygen way before this.
And your wrist would be broken, your knuckles would be bloody.
But also, just like last time, the initial splits do not turn into escapable cracks, even after 600 punches.
Well, the coffin lid cracked a little bit, but it didn't cave in.
I know, this is not looking good for this myth. It's looking busted.
It's not looking good for the myth or the MythBusters, since all this graveyard testing has brought about an unexpected result.
Living dead. Looks like somebody forgot to kill.
3, 2, 1.
Tory, Grant, and Kari have found that trying to clout your way out of a casket, Kill Bill style, ain't all it's cracked up to be. But as a potential final nail in this myth's coffin, there's one last part to test.
Now, we busted the part of the myth where you could punch through a casket. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna test the part of the myth that if you did bust through the casket, could you dig through 6 feet of dirt? So what I need to do is I need to reconfigure this rig here so that we can get inside of it and safely try to dig our way out.
Now, if the movie heroine was superhuman, or the coffin lid riddled with woodworm, maybe she could have punched through. And if so, could she then have escaped? To find out, Tory replaces the casket lid with a sliding hatch to hold back the dirt above.
All right, so this is the trap door. Let's get it open like that, and then we'll start digging our way out.
He's also built an acrylic casket with a specially designed escape hatch that's all ready for a trial run.
So the new casket's in place, and what I'm gonna do right now is just test the trapdoor and see if it's working. Oh, it works. And I'm out safely.
Well, sort of safely.
Better than dying.
Meanwhile, Grant's got the dirt on dirt.
So dirt weighs between 65 and 88 pounds per cubic foot. And we know from our buried in sand experiment that those types of pressures on your chest cavity can get very dangerous very quick. Now, traditionally, caskets are buried 6 feet under dirt. But for safety, we're gonna start out with just 2 feet.
But even only 2 feet under, Kari, for one, is sure Tory's digging his own grave.
I have a feeling the coffin's gonna fill up and pin him before he's able to dig his way out.
So, pepped up by Kari's confidence, Tory puts on an anti-crush suit.
Yeah, this ought to stop the dirt from compressing my lungs.
And, most important, a fire brigade breathing apparatus.
Go. Is this how Houdini died?
One panicked look later, and it's go time.
Be careful in there.
Tory carefully slides his way into the coffin as he prepares to literally put his life on the line.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm gonna open the door slowly.
All of a sudden, this seems like a horrible idea.
Tory's burial ritual begins. Kari releases the trap door, exactly as if he'd been able to punch a hole in that coffin lid. The trickle of dirt begins to fall in on him.
Bro, this is freaky.
Okay, keep going. Yeah, keep going.
Kari opens it wider, and it rapidly becomes an avalanche. And it's panic stations below.
Whoa, whoa, stop, stop.
I'm all right. No, I'm okay. I'm all right.
The 2 feet of dirt has caved in on him. But there's a bonus. It's opened up a rabbit hole above.
Got daylight. Woo!
But still trapped, he pushes the dirt to the bottom of the coffin, wriggles, and then scrapes his way upright. And with a massive effort, actually triumphs in tunneling his way out.
I'm alive! As soon as the door was open to about a foot wide, all of a sudden a ton of dirt came falling in on my chest, and I couldn't move my arms anymore, I couldn't move my body, and I started panicking. I almost had Grant hit the quick release and let me out, but I calmed down, finally got the dirt pushed down enough so I could maneuver enough to get out of the 2 feet of dirt.
Tory's proved that at 2 feet under, assuming you could open the coffin lid, escape is just conceivable. But the myth calls for a normal burial.
Now, our next setup is going to be under the full 6 feet of dirt.
Yep, you heard right, folks. Grant is going to be buried a full 6 feet under. But so he doesn't die, his plan is to sit up, not lie down in the coffin. Okay, let's pause for Kari's prediction.
Think about 4 feet. It's all gonna collapse down and completely go pear-shaped.
Yep, as with any MythBusters experiment, going pear-shaped is a real possibility.
Okay, Kari, go ahead.
Kari at last dishes the dirt on Grant.
Keep going.
Thousands of pounds of soil slithers south.
Stop.
And almost immediately, Grant's buried to the neck, unable to move, at least until the rig breaks under the pressure. It's easy to see that if Grant had been lying down, he'd be dead.
Well, I guess that worked well.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up.
The air tunnel that Tory used never opened up for Grant, and that meant escape was totally impossible.
I'm convinced you'd be buried alive. That 6 feet of dirt came all down into the casket, filled it up. There's no way you're gonna survive this.
So let's go inside and put the epitaph on this myth.
All right, you guys, where do we stand with coffin punch?
We definitely have to bust this one. I mean, there's no way we were even able to punch through the lid of the casket, and that's with the full strength of the martial artist, both in the shop and when the casket was buried.
Okay, and say you could punch a hole in the casket and you could punch that hole big enough that you could crawl out of. There's no way you're crawling through 6 feet of dirt. Look how much trouble you had with 2 feet.
And I had a mask on and a respirator.
Yeah, if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be able to see or breathe.
Yeah, so this one is definitely busted.
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 I just hope I never get buried alive.
Oh, that's what I was gonna get you for Christmas.